Hey, it's Lee with wplauncher.com, and I've got a really cool little tutorial here on how to use arrays as attributes when building a Gutenberg block. And I've been trying to figure this out for a while, and I finally cracked it. And so I'm going to walk you through what you need to do. I'm not going to write everything out line by line. I'm just going to show you real quick, and if you have questions, please leave me some comments and I'll give a more detailed answer. But so the issue is I'm building a block for a section container, and so this block, you can change out the background image, overlay opacity. You can change out the background color if you want. Let me turn this back to an image. Okay. But the issue I'm running into is there's a lot of little things like padding, border radius, margin, where you have the padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left. And I don't want to create 4 attributes in my register block type attributes here. I'd rather just have an array, and I figured out how to do it. So here we go. So I created a padding attribute of type array, and I've defaulted the values to 0. Okay, and so basically what we're going to do is when one of these values update, I'm going to map it to the value. And so my structure is the same structure that you would do in CSS. So we have padding, the value in the 0 position of the array would be the top, in the 1 position would be the right, in the bottom would be, or in the 3rd position, in the value in the 0 position would be the top, the value in the 1 position would be the right, the value in the 2 position would be the bottom, and the value in the 3 position would be the left. Just like in CSS, if you're doing the shorthand in CSS, where you do like padding, where you'd have like top, right, bottom, left. Okay, so we're just gonna follow that same pattern. Okay, and so I'm gonna head on over to, I've got a component I built called inspector, and in this inspector component I've got these range controls here. Okay, and so notice how that works. So freaking cool. You can change those values separately, or I've got it where you can lock the values and change them simultaneously. And I'm going to break this out into its own component as well, but I want to show you how this updating an array attribute works. That's what this is all about. Okay, so I've got my 4 range control components I've pulled in. Okay, I pulled in the range control component from WP components object, from the WP object. Okay, and so the key here is on change, it's going to kick you a new value just by default. And so I'm going to call a function called update padding, and I'm going to pass it 2 arguments. Okay, and the first one's going to be this new padding value, and the second is going to be the positioning. Okay, and notice in the value here for the padding top, the value is going to be the value in the array at the 0 position, and then for the right, the padding right, it's going to be at the value at the 1 position, and for the bottom, it's going to be the value at the 2 position. Okay, and the other values you see here, I've got a ternary operator here where I've turned on the allow reset, and so the value when reset is clicked gets changed to undefined, and so I use a ternary operator to either show the value in the correct position, which is 0 for the padding top, or 0, it'll reset it to 0. So if I click this, it'll reset all of these values to 0. Okay, but the real magic for all of this is in this update padding function, and it's actually really simple. So I've created that up here, this update padding, okay? And I spread in the arguments because we have 2 arguments coming in. So the first argument, which is argument 0, is the new padding. And then the second argument, which is at argument 1, I'm going to use to determine what position in the array it's going to go into, okay? And I'm using this padding lock attribute I've also created. If I head back here, I've created a padding lock attribute. I'm pulling that in. It doesn't really apply to this, what I'm showing you, but if you want to do the same thing where you lock all of these to change simultaneously, here's how you do that as well. Okay, so our first argument is our new padding. Then I create a little object I called position, okay? And so the second argument that I'm getting in is either going to be top, right, bottom, or left. And then if it's top, then I need to update the value in the 0 position of the array. If it's right, I need to update the value in the 1, okay? And then so I'm going to use this when I go through the magic function here that's going to update this array attribute. Okay, and then finally I need to get the existing padding. And I think this is, I've tried this some other ways, and I think this is where the when you're writing React, if you're updating a value that exists in state, if you're going to make a change to that value, you need to grab the value and not make that change directly to it because of various things, but they basically queue state updates. So as state gets updated, they're queuing all those changes. So you need to use a function in order for that to make sure that that change gets updated. So we got to pull in the existing value. So this pulls in this.props.attributes.padding, okay? And so this pulls in this array or whatever value is there, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to create another variable called updated padding, and this is going to contain our updated array value. So instead of it being 0, 0, 0, it's going to, if we're past the top, it's going to be, whatever. If this first value gets changed to 13, 14, it's going to be 13, 0, 0, 0, okay? And we're going to use this padding.map, and which gives us a couple different arguments we can have access to. We can get the value and then also the index, and we're going to be using both of those. And what I'm doing here is if the padding lock is on, then I'm going to return the new padding value for each item in the array. So if one of these updates to 13, I turn this on, they're all going to update to 13 or 20 or whatever that is. If my padding lock is not on, which if you don't have the padding lock, this is all you need to concern yourself with. If the index is equal to the position, which is either top, right, bottom, or left, then update that value with the new padding. Otherwise, just return the value. Okay, so then finally, when that's all said and done, you're going to update these attributes with the this.props.setAttributes with this updated padding amount. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. I'm sorry I'm not coding this out. I'm really tired and really excited, and I couldn't figure out, I couldn't find any information on this anywhere, so I wanted to make sure to get this out there and shared with whoever is trying to figure out the same thing. But the key is that you want to be able to store some of these attributes as arrays so you don't have to create a bunch of different attributes. Well, this is how you do it. You pull in the current array, map over it, update the values that need to be updated, and then set the attribute updates. And you'll be able to work some magic like this and get rid of a bunch of attributes. So, hey, if you are a theme creator, you need to check out wplauncher.com. We would love to help you earn recurring revenue for your theme with our launch button. So you'll just upload your theme, create a launch button, add it to your site, and you can start offering, instead of just one-time downloads, you can launch your theme right now, hosted, and you can name your profit. So have a good one. Thanks.